Are you thinking of getting into real estate photography? Do you want tips? If yes, then you're at the right place. We will tell you the best tips there are to get your best photographs. Here are the 10 best tricks. Sit back and relax and watch this video till the end to know about all the tricks. Number 1. Buy the camera that suits your work process. Some real estate professionals swear by their smartphones. Others invest thousands in a professional-grade modular camera system. And while you can definitely tell the difference between the photos they produce, it may not be as big of a difference as you think. One of the best tips for real estate photography is simply purchasing a professional camera. A professional digital SLR camera will produce better photographs easier. That much is inarguable. But as a real estate professional, it's more of a question of your habits. Number 2. Buy a wide-angle lens. One inarguable point is that if you're going to invest in a camera, you should also invest in a wide-angle lens for real estate photography. A wide-angle lens produces large images that cover a field of view larger than the human eye can see. Wide-angle lenses are what make most interior design photographs feel so alluring and open. That being said, you don't need to go overboard. You can get a 24mm wide-angle lens, which will usually be a few $100s, rather than an ultra-wide, which is usually over $1,000. Ultra-wide lenses are usually used for scenery and wildlife photography, not kitchens. Number 3. Never use a fisheye lens. Many inexperienced real estate agents find themselves using a fisheye lens for their real estate photography. They worry that the property just feels too small, and perhaps it does without a wide-angle lens, so they try to artificially distort the image. Sometimes they aren't even using a regular fisheye lens. Sometimes they're using a filter. A fisheye lens is not a wide-angle lens. It distorts an image so that it appears both larger and curved. A wide-angle lens displays more of the image without any distortion. It's pretty obvious when even a professional photographer is using a fisheye lens. People who recognize this type of photo editing will be put off by the listing, and people who don't recognize it will attend the listing expecting something else entirely. Number 4. Declutter the property. There are a few things as distracting as clutter. As you take photos, you should remove all the clutter, even if you're just shifting it around as you go. While some homes actually do sell themselves on how busy they are, such as that one listing you might have that has dozens upon dozens of paintings and knickknacks. Most buyers want to see something that hasn't been personalized. That doesn't mean you need to remove everything. Unless you're going to empty the entire room, you don't want it to look Spartan. The area you want is between a single magazine on a coffee table and an entire stack of magazines on the table. Number 5. Rearrange the furniture. The furniture should be positioned to be open. Essentially, that means it should be tilted toward you when you take the photo, almost as though your camera is a physical third party at the scene. When you look at real estate marketing, you'll frequently see this type of layout. In reality, it may look odd to have a table and some chairs that are pointed away from each other. But the idea is really that you and the viewer have a presence in the photograph. It makes the image feel welcoming, personal, and complete. Number 6. Play around with color. A little pop of color can really help an interior photo stand out. It can also help direct the viewer's eye toward features that you want to call attention to. Throw pillows are a great choice because you can bring them with you and just toss them into your interior shots. You can also bring little items of decor with you. For a long time, the trend has been toward neutral colored homes. Recently, a lot of homes have been going all white. But bringing a touch of color in doesn't just imbue the photo with personality, it stops the viewer from continuing to scroll by. Number 7. Take most of your shots at eye level. Imagine your eventual buyer as the person who's taking your photographs. You should take your shots at eye level so it feels natural to anyone viewing it. Apart from dealing with issues such as white balance, this is probably one of the most important real estate photography tips to digest. A lot of people have the inclination, for whatever reason, to take photos from above. But if you take a photo from the upper corner of a room, you'll just skew the way the property looks. the photo itself will also feel a little off-kilter. It's better to take your listing photos from your own perspective. In the film, these are often called medium shots, shots that give the camera itself a presence. Number 8. Be realistic about flaws. A lot of real estate agents intentionally leave problems out of their photos. They may take a whole virtual tour but never show the floor or never enter a certain room. They may tilt their camera away from a particularly bad DIY job. But again, this really just wastes your time. Take realistic, though not excessive, pictures of things like damage, repair issues, and bad DIY jobs. This will lead the buyer to think, well, that's not so bad once they get there, rather than, I had no idea about this problem. Number 9. Correct the color, contrast, and saturation. Correcting the color, contrast, and saturation. A process that's often automated with systems such as Adobe Lightroom or digital cameras will make a photo look more vibrant, realistic, and detailed. There's a lot that can be corrected with editing software. If your entire image has a dull gray cast, for instance, correcting the contrast and saturation should fix it. If your image is very dark, you can improve the contrast. If your image is too bright, HDR photography, you can reduce the saturation. Play around with the lighting settings and white balance to find the sweet spot that makes the image look as close to reality as it can. Number 10. Avoid editing too much. When it comes to the best tips for real estate photography, a little editing goes a long way. Too much editing makes things look fake, and it may make someone wonder exactly what you're hiding. A great example of this is HDR. A little HDR makes a listing really pop in a way that it might very well pop in real life, but may not depict on a screen. A lot of HDR makes an image look unusual and garish. Likewise, a fisheye lens just makes people think that the room must be unusually small. You wouldn't bother using a fisheye lens if you weren't trying to hide the size. Do edit your images, but edit them toward looking like a reality rather than moving them away from reality. That would be it for the video. If you enjoyed it, kindly hit the like button and subscribe to our channel.